So before we left, we were talking to Ryan about how we started with Woodward Sports just about like 2 years ago and how he got involved. Just want to do a quick recap of that.
Yeah. So yeah, I've had a lot of cool opportunities. I've been doing this since I was about 14. I mean, I just told you guys, but when I initially applied for Woodward, I don't know if you guys listen to Mojo in the Morning at all or know about them, but there was this guy Joey. He used to do all their Friday night like football games. He would show up and there'd be like cutouts of his face he'd hand out. I don't know if they probably don't do that anymore, but so he transitioned over to Woodward Sports, and like when I heard him say that on the radio, I was like, man, this sounds like exactly what I want to do. I was working at a car wash, like because I was still going to school, and I was like, so I shot him a DM on Instagram, and like they responded within a day, and then I sent them a video I filmed here my junior or senior year. Um, there was like a pancake thing going on in the commons area where like free pancakes. Some dude was like doing tricks and flipping pancakes, and I like filmed B-roll of it, and we had an interview, and I sent that to Joey, and he was like, "Yeah, that looks sweet." So I started doing that, and then I got thrown into filming sports, which is like I love. If I had to pick one thing, like filming, like that stuff you guys saw, like that's what I would do all day, and I got thrown into that. That was kind of the first time I got a taste of that was filming that Dakota game, and yeah, now I'm here. So
Obviously was in Kaufman's class, like I learned how to edit and stuff like that. But my first like my introduction to Woodward Sports was in quarantine. I started a podcast. At the time, I was doing like jujitsu, and the owner of our jujitsu gym knew Stick, who was like program director at the time of Woodward Sports. And I was basically just podcasting. I was interviewing like guys at fights coming up locally, or like the guys that had to the UFC from like local circuits and stuff like that. And my like that's the other thing too. Like I guess I told the last class was like marketing yourself. Like that's just huge, just in life, but especially if you're like pursuing broadcasting or anything in that area. That's why like social media is huge, like TikTok, Instagram. It's all stuff like you guys can like do now. Like so, like don't sleep on it. Like make your own highlight reel. The same way Ryan did of his stuff. But I had like some of that stuff already just from again doing like the interviews, and then so I introduced myself into Woodward Sports as like a social media guy posting their stuff, but that's another thing too is like use those skill sets to get your foot in the door, but still have a podcast on the side and pursue like what you really want to do. Because like now I have my own show. You know what I'm saying? Like even though I was in as a social media guy and then as a technical director, it's kind of similar to like what you're doing, like switching the cameras in there. I still had a podcast on the side, but I marketed myself because in the podcast clipped everything. I mean, you guys should if you guys don't know if you guys watch like Joe Rogan or whatever you guys watch, but more than likely they clip it on YouTube full send. And then you clip it even more into like the social media, like TikToks that then become reels and also become like a YouTube short. Like grab like the most attention grabbing moments. You want to make sure everything's built off of engagement these days too. Like retention rate is huge on YouTube, especially. I'm pretty sure everything else is like that too. But like that's why sometimes you ever watch like a YouTube short, there'll be like a half screen. There's like some maze or something like weird going on at the bottom half of it. It's because it's so you stay like watching it. You know what I'm saying? Like retention's huge, but I think the whole purpose, I guess, I was getting to is just market yourself and like don't quit pursuing it because I was literally in quarantine in my basement. Like I didn't go for like another year of school like Ryan did. I just had my skill set that I learned from Kaufman. Refreshed a few things just like through YouTube, like everyone does if you don't want to do something, and then just kept grinding. Honestly, just kept pursuing it relentlessly.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Uh, yeah.
go ahead.
Go for it. Yeah, pause it.
Well, this question with the Lions.
Yes.
So, with the way we've been playing this season, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Up until like two, maybe 3 weeks ago, Jared Goff, he ain't been playing to his best of his abilities,
Yeah.
throwing picks and all type of stuff. So, I don't know how y'all feel about that and like why maybe that's going on.
I am. I've been coined as like the Jared Goff hater at our network, just because like that's kind of who he's been like his whole career. He kind of needs like everything around him to go perfectly for him to like be good. Like even if you watch like some of the throws he's throwing, they're wobblers out there, and it's not like something you see consistently from like an NFL level quarterback. So like when the line's perfect and the guy is like wide open, Jared Goff is he's gonna be great. But any type of adversity, anything outside the structure of play, he's going to become Jared Goof, as I like to call him, and he's going to goof it up. And that's why I don't think they should re-up him for like $45, $50 million. I think it'd be an awful mistake. I think Ben Johnson's a big part of why Jared Goff looks good too. If you think back to like 2021, the first half of the season, garbage, garbage.
Yeah.
And then once Ben Johnson kind of took over, they started looking a little bit better. Got a first win, and they tied against Pittsburgh, and so on and so forth. So Yeah, that's how I feel about Jared. I don't think he's the guy. I'm happy we got Hendon Hooker. That's what actually that one clip that Kaufman was playing a little bit earlier was us talking about Hendon Hooker possibly getting activated this week. I think they're talking about doing.
You, Logan, you notice anything at Thanksgiving where the fans kind of
Yeah,
weeding out a little bit at the end?
I just feel like his pocket awareness is like not there. He's not mobile at all.
Yeah.
I think he's slow. Yeah.
That's like a lot of people like they kind of like crapping on our defense. And I'm not saying they're a good defense or a great defense by any means, but like if you watch the other team's quarterback, if there's like pressure, they'll run, they'll create an open lane for them to throw the ball. Jared Goff doesn't have that athletic ability.
He sits in the pocket.
Yeah, he
takes
trips
a
over
sack,
himself,
yeah.
fumbles the ball. It's
Hit a couple fumbles in the game, Thanksgiving game.
yeah. I'm not the biggest Jared Goff guy. You're actually like I think
Yeah, I'm
There's at least
also a
3
part
of
of that
us.
club.
Yeah.
The biggest thing with Goff for me, it's kind of like a meme, but like the fact that he can't throw a spiral like 50% of the time drives me insane. Okay, like because I always bring up Zach Wilson. Like I know Zach Wilson's not good, but he throws such a pretty ball. And then you watch Jared Goff like do that flea flicker he threw to J-Mo like up the left sideline on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That thing was literally spinning like top over end, and I probably have like 30 to like 40 videos in my phone of me recording the TV when he doesn't throw a spiral because I'll go back and play him just to use him as like a receipt. But like, I mean, it's kind of a joke, but like at the same time, it's not. Because like if they start dropping passes, you're like, oh, J-Mo can't catch. Well, it's like, well, you're 10 yards away throwing a ball 50 miles per hour and it's going vertical. Like it's not going to be easy to catch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
How do you feel
Yeah.
about Jared Goff?
I don't know. I like him. I feel he's a good quarterback for our system. But yeah, the not mobile thing is like playing today with all the fast edge rushers and all that stuff. Like a not mobile quarterback is, I don't know. It just feels like a downside.
Yeah.
And another question: why are you so like Hendon Hooker? Why? What makes you like him more than?
I guess there's like upside there. I think another thing too, like a trend in the NFL, is like quarterbacks on like rookie deals or like on deals like those in between deals where they get those like monster contracts. Because like once a guy gets paid, football is like the ultimate team sport. Like like the same thing with Jared Goff. The offensive line needs to produce for Jared Goff to produce. Receivers need to catch for Jared Goff to produce. Like the defense needs to stop the other team from scoring. So like you need a good team. Like not one guy isn't going to do it for you. It just doesn't work that way. It's the ultimate team sport. So like if you're crippling your salary cap by paying like a guy like Jared Goff like $50 million, okay, what happens when Amon-Ra wants his money? What happens when Jameson Williams is ready to re-up? And by the way, because like Jared Goff needs those guys because he's not throwing like dimes on the dot like 50 yards like Patrick Mahomes. Like he's also going to need to pay your offensive line. Like Jonah Jackson's coming up on a free agency like next year. Jared Goff obviously needs to be protected because somebody's in his face. The ball starts flying different places it's not supposed to go. So it's like I think I'm more high on Hendon Hooker because one, he's a third-round pick, so his contract's not that much. Jalen Hurts is a perfect example. And then I know they just read up him last year, but his like the first year he started was a sophomore season. And they're okay. They're like sub 500 and they lost in the playoffs like Tampa Bay. The second year, because Jalen Hurts on that he's a second-round pick. That rookie deal, they traded for A.J. Brown, paid A.J. Brown. They drafted Devontae Smith, and they grabbed somebody else too. But they stacked their team, and then they went to the Super Bowl because he's paid like a lot less. And one, he's mobile too, so if the play does break down, either okay, I'm going to run it, or I'm going to get to like one of my playmakers that my team can afford because they're not paying my quarterback $50 million. I think this is a trend in sports too. Like I have this thing. It's called the 12% rule. There's only been 3 quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl that took more than 12% of the team's salary cap space, and that was Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Patrick Mahomes. The names, those are like the greats. You know what I'm saying? Those are like top 5 quarterbacks all time. So I just don't think it's worth paying like any quarterback that insane amount of money unless they have like Josh Allen. I'd pay that. Justin Herbert, I'd pay that because they could make plays for themselves outside the structure of play. So it's like if your coaching isn't there, because I think we're losing Ben Johnson too. Obviously, people talking about him becoming a head coach. If he leaves, I think we're screwed, especially if you pay Jared Goff. So I'd rather go with a Hendon Hooker who could make a play outside the structure of like the play call, if that makes sense, you know? And we can afford, like if he's not the best quarterback, Jalen Hurts is a second-round pick. He was never viewed as a first-round talent. And he doesn't throw the prettiest ball. But you put elite pieces around him, he looks pretty damn good. Tua is a perfect example. Tua was, can I say ass? Tua was butt cheeks. and then they grabbed Tyreek Hill because he's on a rookie deal. They can afford him. Now Tua, they're talking about giving him the MVP. Like it's just, you want cheaper quarterbacks and mobile quarterbacks, in my opinion, versus like Jared Goff. No offense to Jared Goff fans. Apologize. Do you have any other questions? Do you want to talk about Jared Goff? Or Hendon Hooker?
I mean, I like Hooker. Seen him at training camp when I was down there during like before the season. Like he had his knee problem, but like he would throw after practice to one of the coaches, and like he looked pretty good. Like I'd be happy to see him. Like I go back and watch his highlights at Tennessee, and like dude, he was dotting up from like 60 yards away. So like I just imagine him with JMO, like JMO just running a go route and Hooker just dropping it right in him. So
Mhm.
I'm kind of excited if Hooker gets a chance. Maybe if we clinch the division and Hooker's healthy, maybe he can play that last game of the year and we can get a little feel for how he's going to look. But yeah, I don't know.
A lot of people harp on that age to like 25, but Russell Wilson, he was also drafted at 25, like the Seattle Seahawks, third round pick as well. He went to the Super Bowl, won one, then, which again lost when they paid him that money. And he was on Seattle Seahawks weren't that great. They traded him, went to the Broncos, and the Broncos in a big contract. They're not doing nothing. Daniel Jones, cheap deal. He was doing stuff. They gave him big money. Cheats. I just don't think it's worth paying. It's a team sport at the end of the day. Basketball, you can have guys making a crap ton of money because he can play both sides of the court. I'm saying he can play offense and defense. And if they're a baller, they're balling. But football, it's not like that. You got special teams. You got offense, defense, and you need key players on each side of it, in my opinion. What do you think about Hendon Hooker?
I don't really know too much about him, but I feel like, again, what you guys were saying about mobile quarterbacks, I think like the league, if you have a more like a mobile quarterback, your team's gonna do better.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I feel like if we had like, I don't know, I don't really know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, obviously, they're more prone to get hurt, but I don't want to scramble. I just want a guy who can send the play.
Yeah.
Like, if the pressure's on you, like Jordan Love, yeah, you were at the game at Thanksgiving.
First
the play, like, ran all the way to, like, the numbers and threw it across the field. Like, they had pressure on him. Like, Aiden couldn't get him because he just avoided the sack and then just made a play from there, Or he could throw on the run, too. Patrick Mahomes, and that's one of the beauties of Patrick Mahomes. Like, he throws a prettiest ball, but he's also, like, pirouetting and avoiding defenders and just dotting it down the field. Obviously, no one's going to be Patrick Mahomes, so that's an anomaly. You got a question about the business at all, or go ahead, anything? It don't matter.
I be Lions for real.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for free agency,
Yeah.
after this year, a lot of contracts. Where do you think we should go if not a quarterback? What should we pick up more? To the defensive, or pretty much just like that? Where should we go for free agency? Defense. Yeah, I know it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are on. I got this thing at the show I call Defend the Glen. I started like 2 years ago because, like, again, I'm not saying it's a good defense. I'm not saying it's any of that. But you also got to be honest, like what we're looking at, what he's working with. Like, look at the top 5 defenses in the league. You're looking at top 10 players. Like the Browns have Myles Garrett, they have Ward. You get the Ravens that got freaking the linebacker from Chicago, Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen. They also got Kyle Hamilton. Like top end defense, like top 5 defenses have top 10 players. Look at the Detroit Lions. There's an argument for Hutchinson by talent merit, but like production-wise, no, he has 5.5 sacks in the season. Like Kayvon Thibodeau's got more than that right now, And like I'm not, and Hutch is a dog. Like don't get me wrong too. I've got to meet Hutch, interviewed Hutch. Like he's a great guy, but it's a team sport. So get him another piece where the teams can't triple team him anymore because they got to worry about somebody else. That's why at the trade deadline I was throwing fits for like grabbing somebody, whether it was like Montez Sweat or Chase Young. Like I think the defense is what they need to work on for damn sure. Like absolutely defense, yeah. You?
The defensive line. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think they've gone Hutch got that fumble, but besides that, like their last 3 or 4 games, I don't think they've got home. And I don't know, seeing like Myles Garrett and all them with like 13 sacks, and like Thibodeau's got like 11.5. It's like Hutch is sitting at 5.5. It's like like I love Hutch, but like eventually you just got to get to the quarterback, I think. And it's a very like do or don't stat. Like you either sack him or you don't. Like pressures are cool, but like if you're not sacking the dude, he's still running around and making plays. Yeah. And like that came back to bite us like against Geno Smith and the Seahawks. Like you saw it with Jordan Love. Like if they can just step up and create like an extra 3 seconds, and then our secondary gets picked apart. And like that's just because our D line can never get to the quarterback.
Yeah, I think it was on Monday's show. We had a film breakdown of Micah Parsons. Obviously, he's amazing. But he's still beating triple teams. That guy's insane. But like the same blocking scheme the Green Bay Packers used against Hutchinson, they had like 3 blockers. They brought in a tight end to chip him. They literally pulled the center on like a pass play, which is like you don't pull guards and centers on pass. That's a run scheme, right? And then they also grabbed like the running back to block Hutch. But then the same scheme was used against Micah Parsons on Thanksgiving against the Commanders. However, they had guys winning their one-on-one matchups against the other tackles and guards to where the quarterback was just stuck at that point. Like they need somebody on the defensive line to help Hutch out for damn sure. I wish they did at the trade deadline because I probably sound pessimistic, like Lions fans, like the ones that like, oh, they're gonna win the Super Bowl every year. They hate me because I'm like, I think this year was the year because like again, I think Ben Johnson's gonna leave, become a head coach, and he's a big piece of this offense. And if you end up paying Jared Goff, you're also going to lose other guys too. They actually, you hear about the Bye Bye Barry documentary on Amazon? You listen to Lomas Brown, we get to speak to him too. He tells us all the time, like they had to pay Scott Mitchell like so much money. They couldn't re-sign Lomas Brown to protect him, and they couldn't re-sign who's the linebacker back then, Mr. Kaufman, the Chris Spielman. Yeah, they couldn't re-sign Lomas Brown or Chris Spielman. Like those are pivotal pieces to like your team. You know what I'm saying? And just because you signed Scott Mitchell, who per market value is probably worth, however much money he took, he's not worth that value on the field. You know what I'm saying? So I think defense, and I hope. And I don't know if Hendon Hooker's going to be a great, but I'd rather like go that route with a rookie deal and at least surround him by elite talent. Like even the Jets somewhat stayed afloat for a minute before Zach Wilson kind of dipped out that. I don't know. What do you think they should grab?
Ooh, definitely another edge rusher or anybody just to take the pressure off of Hutchinson. Because, like you said, he is like NFL pressures. He's up there.
Mm-hmm.
But for sacks, like, yeah, it's a do or don't stat.
Yeah.
If you're not getting sacks, it doesn't really matter. And sometimes he's just doing a lot of spins and stuff, and he's just getting like sat on and a bunch of other stuff. He's young though, so he has a lot of time to probably fix it.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah, I think he's still good. He's just like the main focus of like the offensive scheme to block them, and there's nobody else to like win their battles. But it's like you said, like you don't get the history books for pressures. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no pressure stat that got you in the Hall of Fame. You actually have to land a sack. So I think I really wanted Jalen Carter, like in the draft process. Obviously, I love Jahmyr Gibbs now, but like I just feel like that was something they should have addressed either the draft process with Jalen Carter or Keanu Benton was another guy I like too, ended up in Pittsburgh. But I think our show's called The Heavyweight, so like we're gonna favor the big boys either way. But I want a big defensive tackle. Plus the best version of Lions in my lifetime. Like I'm too young for Barry. I wish I could have watched that live, but like it was Dominican Sue and Ziggy Ansah. So it's like that elite defensive line. Like they took us places, but then guess what? They had to pay staff. They couldn't re-sign Sue. You know what I'm saying? That's just saying like you want to pay these quarterbacks buco bucks because you're capping yourself at that point. You can't. You want to go so far at that point. Yeah, I'm with you. Defensive line. I want a defensive tackle in particular. You? Yeah. I don't know who's on the market either. Because I was so hurt about the trade deadline draft.
Yeah, I feel like Chase Young would have been good on our team, but obviously the 49ers are stacked now.
They have 15 sacks.
15 sacks is trading for Chase Young.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, they're the best defense, probably defense lines in the NFL.
But guess what?
And look, they're paying Brock Purdy like less than $1 million a year.
Right? Brock Purdy is Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in the draft, like, and they're like Super Bowl odds like are way higher than ours.
Yeah.
It's like you can afford a super stacked team. And I know Hurts just got repaid, so like, yeah, they have the team now, but that team's about to start chipping away a little bit too. You already kind of saw it with the linebackers are left, like T.J. Edwards left. I think they lost a couple of their safeties too.
CJ.
Yeah, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Like we got him because they can't afford to pay him because they had to re-up Hurts. So it's like the window's short, man. You got to get it within that rookie deal, in my opinion. And if you got elite coaching, that'll help too, obviously. And I love Dan. Don't get me wrong. Like that's probably the only guy I ever got to talk to with the Lions yet. Dan and Ben, but like they were ass before Ben Johnson started helping that offense. If we're being real, First half of 2021 wasn't pretty, so I really don't know what this team's gonna look like without Ben Johnson. But I will say they're a lot more talented now than too, and that's the type of talent you need around. I think that's why they drafted Jahmyr and Sam because like I hate that sound. Like I'm hating on Jared Goff. But like he needs those pieces, right? Because those are like yak guys. Like Sam Laporta's always making like he's breaking tackles and carrying for extra yards. Same thing with Jahmyr Gibbs. Obviously, I'm a Raza dog. J-Mo, I can't wait for him to get going, man. I don't even think we see him. Like, what do you think of J-Mo actually?
J-Mo's a pit. J-Mo's a pit. Nothing more than that. Like deep ball, go, any of that. J-Mo's been my favorite player since he's came through, and honestly, like I'm excited to see what he can do throughout. Like if he's always healthy, if he can stay healthy and really just stay on that field. Honestly.
Yeah.
And really, Jahmyr Gibbs too. He's even a dog. He's more of a dog, and I really think him and Montgomery. I like the way they're playing it now, but I would like to see Gibbs get into more like pass scheme plays.
Yeah.
And like stuff like that.
How do you How do you feel about that Jameson Williams McDonald's order? Did you see that?
I haven't
The
even checked
McFlurry?
that out.
Oh,
No,
He
what
He
is
grabs
that?
like a what is it, a McDouble or something?
It's a double cheeseburger, and then he puts an Oreo McFlurry on it.
Oh,
Uh,
nah, that's rancid.
That's not it.
We tried it on there. What's it? Wednesdays?
I don't know.
I think we did. We tried it on there on Wednesday. It's not good. It's not good. Like I know you can dip fries and like ice cream sometimes, but like burger and ketchup, bro. And here's the thing too. He's so like highly scrutinized. Like so, we gotta report on like every little thing, right? Because like it's just our job too. So like he gave out money over in Detroit somewhere. People are kind of scrutinizing for that. He was like in tweets about Lamar Jackson coming to Detroit. They're scrutinizing for that. I really just think he might have been like just trolling everybody because everyone overreacts like anything he does on social media. So I think he probably did that because he knew people like me when they're trying it or eating it or something like that. It was that was gross. But I do love J-Mo, and I was like, I wouldn't say down on him. I like lowered my expectations for him there for a minute. But then I was talking to Herman Moore. Do you know who Herman Moore is?
Yeah.
So all-time great, Detroit line number 84. But he comes on our show every Monday, after the games. And he was kind of like, no, he's like getting in the system. Like this is really like his rookie year in a sense. And he's finally like able to like sit through practice and like get reps with golf. Because that's the thing too is like, yes, like J-Mo dropped a couple of balls, but you also have to adjust to like the type of balls your quarterback is going to throw. Like it is what it is type of situation. Aron's phenomenal at that, adjusting to like the catching point and where he has to like go to actually make the catch. I think he had one against the Chargers. It was like almost like he picked it up off the ground. You know what I'm saying, for that screenplay? Yeah. So it's like J-Mo did have to learn that, but that's what he's going through right now, like getting that chemistry down with golf because sometimes he's throwing wounded ducks out there. But no, I think J-Mo's about to be a dog. I think we're finally – I can't wait. I'm excited for J-Mo. Definitely changed my perspective a little bit.
So with like the rest of our season, you think we can like win the division, win our conference? You think we
Oh, like the NFC North?
Yeah, the NFC North.
Yeah, they better, man.
They better, right?
Yeah, they better, man. That Vikings had a chance until they lost to the Bears on Monday night. Because like they had that cakewalk. It was like the Bengals with a backup quarterback, the Raiders with a backup quarterback, and then us twice, and they're only 4 games behind, which they could have like that'd been easy to catch up because win one against us and win out, they would have been straight. But now it's any combination of 4 games. The Detroit Lions should just seal the deal on the division. So whether we beat Minnesota, then like win 2 more games at that point because that counts as like 2 games because of the division rival, or any combination of 4, we're in. I think they win the division. You?
Division for sure. I think the division's a wrap. Dobbs is the Vikings were kind of the only threat for a minute, and Dobbs kind of fell back down to earth. He has 5 picks in like the last 2 games. But like I think the division's a wrap. I am scared though when we get into the playoffs. I think that first game we can win, but as soon as we got to play San Fran or Philadelphia or Dallas, I just don't think we're at that level yet to compete with those defenses. Like the Cowboys defense, like Bland. Dude, Bland's got like 5 picks. Like, dude, he's going crazy.
NFL record.
Like, imagine Goff throwing a duck to him, and I just picture him running back to the house. Like, in the playoffs, like, I don't know. I guess those are the only, like, 3 teams I'm nervous for. Other than that, I think we got a good chance to win at least one playoff game this year. But, yeah.
Logan?
Yeah, I feel like most of, like, I feel like we could win we for sure win our division. I think we could, like, saving the Eagles. So the Eagles are at the top of the NFC right now. I feel like we could win out, and the Eagles could, like, they could lose some games. We could even, like, maybe win the NFC.
I was hoping so, man.
But they obviously just won.
Yeah.
The Eagles are crazy.
When they beat the Chiefs, I was like, damn. When they went, that Bills game was a really good game.
Yeah.
I missed the first half, or I missed like the third or second quarter, I should say. But I think, I think they'll take the division. The teams I don't want to see in the playoffs, for the Lions, Philly for sure. Obviously San Fran, and the other one would be the Seattle Seahawks, because they got our number. Like Pete Carroll owns Dan Campbell. I'm wearing Lions stuff today. I'm a Lions fan, but I can't deny the fact that every time Dan Campbell's come up against Pete Carroll, he's been spanked.
Yeah.
Every single time, handily.
I was at the game when we were Seattle.
Yeah. Pick 6 by golf, and both those games past 2 years too. By the way, just pointing it out there. But
Was he have 6 turnovers in 2 games?
Yeah, 6 turnovers in the past 2 games for JG. I mean, I think he'll get right though. He'll get right. It's just he's against elite teams or like in pressure moments. That's what happens. He kind of crumbles. That's why the Rams traded him. You know what I'm saying? That and they had him on a fat contract. Well, that's another thing people don't realize too. Like when you trade a player or trade for a player, like you're getting them discounted because the other team is paying like what's called their dead cap. So everything that was guaranteed to that player and their salary, like the team that signed him to that contract has to pay that. The other team's just taking on like their actual like salary from that point. So Stafford got discounted, and the Rams they signed Odell Beckham. They traded for Von Miller because they were relieved of Jared Goff's cap. You know what I'm saying? So the money thing, and I just don't think he's elite at that level. At least to pay him that much. He's good though.
Yeah.
Not great. Mr. Coffins. My bad.
Hey, you guys mind if I ask you a question?
Yes, go for
All
it.
right, so this is actually a sports question,
Okay.
but college sports. What do you think about what's going on with Harbaugh deal and U of M? Do you think it was warranted? Do you think they're going to keep going after him? Is it over? What's going on there?
Man, I think it could be scary down the road when the NCAA is finished investigating, because he ended everything with he concluded the investigation from the Big Ten, because he was like, I'll accept the suspension, just let's stop investigating like more stuff. But I think the same way they went and they took Reggie Bush's Heisman like years after he's already in the NFL and won a Super Bowl, they took his Heisman. I think it's gonna be something like that, just because like the sign stealing, we did that in high school. Like it was not everybody literally does that, but like to the point where my man was like in disguise on the Central Michigan sideline, like that was like above and beyond like sketchy. Like what else are you doing if you're like infiltrating locker rooms? You know what I'm saying? Like that's just kind of scary at that point, you know? That's what I think. I don't know.
I got no idea. I grew up a Michigan State fan.
Go green.
Sorry.
Go blue, go blue, go blue.
Sorry.
Go blue.
It's all
I don't
good.
know. I haven't been too caught up with Michigan this year. I'm way more into NFL, Tigers, Red Wings than I am into college. For some reason, I don't really like college football. I don't know why. I like the high moments of it, but like watching a full game of college football just doesn't.
The worst product.
I don't know. I'd rather watch NFL. Like I remember I watched Texas Tech play last year, and I was like it was a bowl game, and like they literally ran no scramble for like the entire 4 quarters almost. And like they put up like 50, 60, 70 passes a game. It's like I just don't enjoy that for some reason. I don't know too much.
Football.
I do know about Jim Harbaugh, kind of unrelated, but when I had lunch with him, he loves Diet Coke and he loves milk. But like he literally probably downed like 5 or 6 Diet Cokes in the span of like 2 hours.
That's
so
insane.
I don't random fact, but
Yeah, I only got to meet him on the sidelines that one time for I think it was for Dante Moore's game. He is. He is like awkward. He's like socially awkward, and like also competitive. Was he awkward for you guys?
Not awkward. He was kind of funny though. We were like taking a bus ride down to the golf course, and
He's just intense. He's got a weird look on his
he
face.
was sitting there and like nobody was talking because like we don't really know him yet. And he's like, "Oh, do you guys like trivia?" We're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Which quarterback had the second most rushing yards in the '90s?" We're all like naming like
Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, we're all naming like random quarterbacks. He's like, "No, it was me." I'm like, "Bro." And like every trivia question he had was like about himself, like the whole ride down there, which was kind of funny. But
That's actually funny.
All right, so as we are getting close to the end of the hour, I'm going to ask you, tell me, these guys didn't get a chance to hear this, so I'm going to repeat the question, but how important is time management, and knowing that this class ends in about 5 minutes, you have to keep your statement down pretty tight.
Yeah.
So.
okay, for me, working behind the scenes, editing videos and graphics, time management, especially for our field, like we have to get videos out ASAP, like before any other network, like Barstool or Fox, like CBS. Like if we're the first ones to report it, that's usually what causes our video to pop quicker than other stuff. I do a lot of stuff with our advertising and our sponsors that pay us the money to keep our show going, and like being able to do videos for them and giving them a strict deadline because they're paying money to have their video ran on our show. So if I don't have that video done, like they start asking questions and then it's just not a good look. So like getting everything done by a certain point, very important, especially in this field.
Yeah, I think networking and marketing yourself in this business is huge. For me, I said at the last hour, like showing up pretty early for events. I had like one-on-one opportunities with guys like Jake Paul or like Kate Cunningham that I wouldn't have had because I'm a smaller media outlet otherwise. So like arriving earlier. Also, just meeting like the bigger time like announcers and stuff like that too. Because now I can have those guys on my show. They're also not gonna say, "Oh, I have sources." I can just text somebody, "Hey, what's going on?" And then and staying late too for the very same reasons, getting extra time in. Yeah, punctual is big in this business.
Well, speaking of extra time, I'm going to say thank you so much for your time. We're going to have to say goodbye for our friends at Woodward Sports and for all of the class in Block B. For TV and broadcast media, I want to say thank you guys so much for being here. Give you a nice round of applause. And
Thank you. Appreciate you, Mr. Kaufman. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, clear. Watch your step.